do at one time. When you level a second character, you can choose do the campaign again or skip it. It is much faster to skip the campaign if you want to level up. So that's the first thing. Skip it if you want to level up fast. So let me tell you how everyone has been leveling. What they have done is they pick a dungeon and they go clear it very quickly. So, for example, Champion's Demise was considered the best because Champion's Demise is kind of like a Wolverine claw with 3 lanes, and you make a group and everyone goes and clears 1 lane, and then you lead. The big trick to these dungeons, sadly, it's the same problem that Immortal had until they fixed it, is the idea is to zone into a dungeon, kill a bunch of monsters very quickly, and leave, and not finish it. The way that Immortal solved this is they backloaded all the rewards instead of front-loading it. So you would get a lot of XP for completing the dungeon. You would get all the juicy loot at the end of the dungeon. That incentivizes you to finish it. Well, same problem in Diablo 4. They didn't fix it. Really what you do is you log into the dungeon, you just delete the monsters as fast as you can, and then you leave. So, by the way, let me just
I have retrieved the crown.
People ask all the time, how do you reset the dungeon? Because they took out the dungeon reset. But what you do is, at the end of a dungeon,
I wish that Leia could live a different life, a more normal life, but alas, such is not her fate. When I pass, there is none but her to continue my work, and the future of this world hangs in the balance.
Right outside the dungeon, and you can walk in. If you don't do that, it'll port you to a town. You have to mount up and ride back to the dungeon. And that's very annoying. Another thing you can do is pick really godly dungeons next to each other and just go back and forth and back and forth.
My dearest Hedwig,
okay, so anyway,
do not feel despair,
Champion's
my
Demise
love.
was the best. That's
You
how
did
Rob
everything you could.
got the world's first
Our
level
time
120
together meant
Champion's
more than words can
Okay,
say.
they nerfed Champion's
But
Demise.
in the end,
So then the next
fate
best one
is
was
a cruel
Ruins of
mistress.
Fairview.
Your strength
Guess
is
what happened
needed
today?
to end
They
the
nerfed it.
horrors that
And then
beset this
other,
world.
There's other dungeons that
My
they nerfed. And Blizzard
final
released
wish
a
is
statement.
that you find your
So
path.
they're going to balance all the dungeons.
Love
So they're
always.
by the way, there was another really good one.
Mira,
Malgan something. Can't remember what it's called. Can't remember. I ran it a million times. Something. They nerfed it. So instead of talking about which dungeon right now is specifically the best, which is like a nerf tomorrow anyway, let's talk about some concepts. Skip the campaign is the first thing. Find a dungeon that you like that has a lot of density in the beginning, clear it, and then again, either leave the dungeon, leave the game, or find 2 that you can ping pong between. Now, what else can you do? Leveling 1 to 50. There are certain events that pop up. There isn't one up right now called Legion events. It'll be like a little icon like this, and it'll have a little bar going across it, letting you know that it's about to spawn. Those, probably pound for pound, give you the most XP for the time. If you ever see a Legion event, I think that's the highest XP per hour. Now, you can only do it once in a while when they're up, but that is something very important to pay attention to. Another thing that's very good is Helltide, which is up over here. Now, the thing about Helltide, I'm going to show you, is the monsters are always at your level plus, no matter what. This is very important in the end game we'll talk about later. It's always your level plus 2. So, if I go here on my level 100 bar, and I go outside, you're going to notice the monsters are level 102. Really, the only way to find level 102 monsters or higher is in night release. And I released a Helltide guide with level 102 dollar. Okay? So, Helltide is another great way to not only get XP, but Helltide is, in my opinion, the best way to build wealth on your account. I've literally lost all of my gold. I had probably farmed at least 200 million gold. I actually lost it all dying to Uber Hero, trying to beat her with a regular, not exploited build. Forgotten Souls. If someone asks me, how rich are you, Rax? Or if I'm trying to measure how rich someone is in Diablo 4, it's how many Forgotten Souls you have. It's not how much gold you have. I can farm 250 million gold a day. Forgotten Souls, though, are way harder to farm. You get Forgotten Souls by doing Helltide. I just released a Helltide video, or I'm going to release a Helltide video. I don't know if it's going to be before or after this one. Watch that one. So that's how you get rich. It's getting these Forgotten Souls. do the mystery chest, do the strategy there. So Helltide is good because the monster level is higher, and the mystery chest gives you a shitload of legendaries, etc. So this is a good way to level up and build well. And that's pretty much it. Legion's events are the best. Look for Helltide. Otherwise, efficiently run dungeons. And you might ask, what about overworld farming and turning into the Tree of Whispers? You can do that if you want. The current state of the game, and this might change, the current state of the game doesn't seem very worth it. Then you said, what about what about doing all the side quests? No. Side quests pay literally nothing right now. So it's just not good. And then you might say, well, what about doing the renown a second time? When you completed the renown on one character, so this is the first character that I made, notice how it gave me a skill point, potion, skill, ovals, and paragon points. When you do it a second time on a second character, you have all of these godly bonuses unlocked by default. The only thing that you get for doing renown on a second character is gold. And the amount of gold that you get is completely insignificant. You could run one nightmare dungeon and probably make as much as you would doing the whole set of renown on your entire character all over again. So it's completely useless. So the only reason you would consider doing the side quests is either for the materials that they drop, which is, I guess, something, or the XP, which is really bad currently in the game. I would not recommend Tree of Whispers or side quests. I would recommend Legion events, Helltide, and running any dungeon that you like over and over. People are going to ask, okay, Alex, but just tell me what dungeons are good. The one that seems pretty good still is Blind Burrows. Some people also really like Forsaken Quarry. Now, all the best ones have been nerfed. They're nothing amazing. But those are ones that you can do for right now that are alright. Okay. Then you get to 50. You clear the capstone dungeon. People always ask me, Rax, what in the world do I do at level 50 to keep going? At level 50...
I know one good build for Necromancer and Diablo 4.
I think I just won my tax though. Oh yeah? I just switched from TurboTax to H&R Block. It was so easy. You mean I don't have to go back through all this to switch? Nope.
It's easy to switch from TurboTax to H&R Block.
Because World Tier...
I know one good build for Necromancer and Diablo 4. What I like to call the Shadows of Chaos. Due solely on the fact that it deals a lot of damage to enemy NPCs. The next time I'm on my Necromancer, I'll share the build with you. Guys, in case you ever want to use it.
tier 3 is going to drop sacred gear. You need to remove the stuff that you're wearing in normal items, and you need to replace it with sacred gear ASAP, especially if you get whatever, eye level 6, 700 level. Before, you only have 400 something, people can take a lot of damage. So that's the first deal. So go into level 50, and what do you do? I would advise the same exact things. I would advise the Legion events for XP, Helltide, because it's a higher level than you, and you can farm Forgotten Souls, you will need in the end. You will do things that are useful for Forgotten Souls. You buy the full farm, and all you level it. And now you can do Nightmare Dungeons. The Nightmare Dungeon level that you should do is your level minus 54. That's the tier you should do. Because it is marked at level 54. So, your level minus 54. You're going to be plugging the tier that's exactly after your level. It's going to be nice and clear. Great. So, on level 100, what Nightmare Dungeon? Our best 100 minus 54. Hold on. Now, if you're going to push, obviously, higher level. Try to see the levels that Nightmare Dungeons Nightmare Dungeons are the only way in the game that you can level up your bliss. It's the only way you can level up your bliss.
I will not accept this. It's not my time to die.
In your leveling process, you need to run Nightmare Dungeons. Listen, it's time to focus on your power. Why not do it early rather than late, and when you have that power the whole time? Some people level to 100 and then raise to level 2, and then they power up those areas and it was really nice to have the whole time. So there is like a Nightmare Dungeon tier list that we're working on. Some of them really suck. For example, like Sunken Wheel. This is look at this where this is. These are the two closest waypoints. In order to even start the dungeon, you gotta wrap we're begging this for another 4 things to don't know if they're gonna let you do that. They're be in love with us riding around in the open world. But that's a topic for another video. Not all Nightmare Dungeons are good. It's fine. I mean, whatever you have, but just want to show you one thing in case you didn't know this. You can craft Nightmare Dungeons. Salvage the dungeons. Well.
It was Lazarus. Of that I am certain. He alone had the king here. He whispered dark and evil magic.
You can craft in between these spheres. Okay? And then, when you get up higher, you can craft the mega ones, and then they'll be pumping. So, make sure that you do that. You can salvage the ones you don't like, and craft the ones that you do like. And that pretty much goes the same for when you hit level 60. When you hit level 60-ish, maybe a little bit higher, maybe a little bit lower, depending on a little bit more casual, or if you're a god player. Do the capstone dungeon. Go to level 70. It's a little gold dungeon somewhere over here.
Chicks into it, instilling the notion of an imminent attack by Westmarch. Afraid to speak against the Archbishop, the councillors nodded their empty heads in agreement and sent us off to die.
Exactly the same reason. Gotta get an 800 plus power ancestral weapon. At least a weapon. That way you can keep pumping up your glyphs. Always look for the hell type. Make sure you watch the video on how to get these spirit chests down soul. Every time you actually need it.
This creature
But that in general is the best way to level. When it's very sad, like the world war great and around normal devices. They design all of these endgame events about health, iron, world boss. And now it's like very tested. So but out of all those endgame activities, it ended up being regular dungeons, which is why it's day after day after day.
Maintain your incantations. We'll soon turn.
So,
your magic is weak. I am free. Now, back to my mission.
And later on Nightmare Dungeons. Things to avoid are side quests or a duplicate Bound of Renown, open world events.
Yeah, just the build I normally go for
really bad dungeons that they're starting to make.
Uses these particular aspects which allow you in Diablo 3, which is a build that is amazingly overpowered. Using Spawn Blood, which you get at level 11. Using Skeleton Mage.
No. Hi everyone, it's Drax. Today I did something pretty cool. I hit level 100 on all 5 classes. I did blasting since the start. And one thing that I did not do is I...
Corpse Lance combined that with Poison Corpse Lance.
Not just myself, I leveled up in groups, but I made sure everybody was at my level, or sometimes I played by myself.
Now when it comes to Command Skeletons, the one you want to go for is the very last rune you get, which turns them to kamikaze skeletons that you can barely bomb rush your enemies. You're going to want Decrepify for this one, so that allows you to slow your enemies. And last but not least, you want Blood Rush. This is the main build I go for every time. And that's if you're trying to create a Blood Mage. Because if you're trying to create a Blood Mage, the one you want for this one is the very last one at the end, as well as for this one. Now keep in mind, every time you use a Blood ability, you lose some of your health. Because it takes some of your health bar to cast these spells. It's the only downside about it.
You will know soon enough. Help me find my gear. I will reward you well. Tell me, what brought you to this infernal place?
I must slay the Skeleton King.
Then our aims align.
Barbs are going to continue to be one of the best classes. Right now, in endgame, they're probably one of the worst. But they've been nerfed so many times, and there's so many bugs, which, by the way, a lot of them were reported on the beta, and didn't get fixed. If you're going against Uber and Lilith, Barbarians certainly can't kill their one shatter combo. Barbarians can't poison and view her down, or anything like that. And Nightmare Dungeon 100 is not trivial for Barbarians anyway. However, despite all of that, I still have faith in the Barbarians going forward. The extra legendary aspects on your gear, it's just going to make them overall pretty good. If we can find any ways in the future to gain any more...
Let me know if there's any builds for Diablo 3 that you want to try out. because I know some good ones for Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls.
Easier way to do that than just nerfing the shouts over and over into oblivion is to make the other skills more worthwhile. We take some of the other ones, like maybe Iron Skin, or sometimes people take if people are messing around with Deathblow, but it really isn't a great reason to take the other skills. Give us a reason, then the Barbarian will be more worshipful. Right now, leveling up the pretty rough in the speed farming, they're still really good because of Coda and Whirlwind. In the end game, they're really good. But still on that structured and built, they're very tanky, they're very fast, the shouts are very powerful, and if they would just give us some damage here, I think that'd be just fine. Druid. So Druid right now, pound for pound, is one of the best classes. They're just so good. The Tornado Werewolf Druid might be the best build overall in the entire game, especially since Bone Spear is going to get nerfed next. Pulverize is good. Just really self-ocean single target. I played that leveling up. The Chase for the Tempest Roar.
The cultists dragged me past this glowing pit. What made it? I will know soon. Down this way. There are my weapons. He's free! Do not let him be off!
That will help a lot. Druids have
I am Cormac, warrior of the Templar Order. If it is the Skeleton King you seek, then you will have to fight your way past John Dar. There is no reason we should hunt alone. If you insist.
Really one legendary power that I just don't understand about, and that's Rampaging Blades. The Rampaging
But yeah, that's basically the build I go for every time when I do necromancers on Diablo 3.
The bulwark build is going away. People always ask me about that. It just makes me roll my eyes. But anyway, a lot of the other classes, they make this as a werewolf, using the Werebear ultimate, turning you into an ultimate werewolf that runs at the speed of light and has almost infinite resources, and the tornadoes that you summon home in on enemies, and they do a bajillion damage. It's like, well, that was all made possible by this intricate dimension of legendary power. That I think the last piece to me is good. You really
Black
build
magic bars our way, but the will of a Templar is stronger.
Try and get that dire wolf drop or the rampaging werewolves, put it all together, then you make this new character. I think you did a good job there. So, Druid's Fate is probably going to be good going forward. The same designers are still working on it that built it at the start. They just had
You were a Templar, John Dar. How could you succumb to this coven?
The coven is my brotherhood now. The powers we serve will soon rule this world.
Tornado already was the best build for Druids. But when I played it, was actually very strong. Melee skill, so Druids turning down to 17 damage. I think Necros are not in a good spot. Not because they don't have your all day long. But yeah, those is all like that. It's really good for next year, the good shit.
Please forgive me. My vision was clouded by the Coven's evil magic.
Betrayal can never be forgiven.
Thank you for your aid. I will go with you on your hunt for the Skeleton King. But there is one condition. If we find the sacred tomes of my order, they are mine.
Do as you please. Such books do not interest me.
Then onwards we go to fight the Skeleton King. What shall we fight today? How should I... A useful skill. Prepare for a long fight!
Diablo 4 builds for necromancer.
saying yes. When we're looking for a job, asking for help, especially here. But where can we hear yes when shopping for the products we need for our home? Even if our credit isn't so high. At Aaron's, where they say yes to people that other places turn down. High approvals without great credit?
Regardless of whether you're playing the seasonal realm or the eternal realm, so you can breeze through the 1 to 50 leveling process in just a few hours. This build is so powerful that you can clear the World Tier 3 Capstone Dungeon as low as level 30, and you can clear the World Tier 4 Capstone Dungeon at level 50, probably even earlier. The best thing about this build over others is that it buffs your minions' damage so much more than other summoner builds out there, so they can really dominate. They hit so hard and they are invincible with this setup. Also, this build generates a hell of a lot of essence, more than the other necro builds out there, so you're never standing around doing nothing. The amazing thing about this leveling build is that it only requires one codex aspect, which can be obtained really quickly from a dungeon, so you can focus the rest of your time leveling up. I'll place a link for the build planner down in the comments below. So let's go over the core gameplay loop of the build. Essentially, you want to start an engagement by using your ultimate ability, Army of the Dead, which raises both the maximum amount of skeletal mages and skeletal warriors. We then use our main skill, Blight, which deals damage and then leaves an area which causes further damage over time. The main reason we use Blight over other abilities is because of Supernatural Blight, which boosts our minions' damage by a whopping 20%. Our second ability, Decrepify, slows enemies and weakens them so they damage you less. And then with Abhorrent Decrepify, enemies hit while afflicted have a chance to reduce any active cooldowns by 1 second per hit, which is really going to help bring down the cooldown for your Army of the Dead ultimate ability. Throughout this process, we're going to be creating a ton of corpses. Remember to use the Raise Skeleton ability every 8 seconds, because this is going to summon a Skeletal Priest, which further boosts our minions' damage by 30%. And then anytime you run out of essence, you can spam Corpse Explosion, which is going to cause a lot of damage, AoE, and it's going to generate a ton of essence thanks to Grim Harvest. Only for the first 10 to 15 levels, depending on your renown, is there going to be a difference to this setup. We use Blood Surge for those very early levels because it's better for damage, and then afterwards our minion damage is good enough, and then we completely switch over to Blight by taking out our 5 points into Blood Surge and putting them straight into Blight. So let's go over our skill tree. So we want to put 1 point into Bone Splinters and 1 point into Enhanced Bone Splinters. We only use this ability for the first 20 levels or so, and then afterwards, as you can see, it's not even on my toolbar anymore. It is good very early game for generating essence for using Blood Surge, but then later on we don't use it, but we still need those 2 skill points to unlock the rest of the skill tree. If you're under level 15, then initially put your next 5 points into Blood Surge, and then afterwards switch it to Blight, because from that point onwards your minions are strong enough to carry your damage. Remember to put 1 point into Enhanced Blight and 1 point into Supernatural Blight as well. Put 3 points into Hued Flesh so we generate more corpses, and then we can generate corpses whilst damaging bosses as well. Initially put 1 point into Corpse Explosion and 1 point into Enhanced Corpse Explosion. Eventually you will want to max out Corpse Explosion to 5 out of 5 for the purpose of this leveling build. Then put 3 points into Grim Harvest to maximize essence generation. You then get 3 points into Skeletal Warrior Mastery to boost minion damage. Fueled by Death, we do put 3 points in, but we do this later on after unlocking more abilities. Next, put 1 point into Decrepify, 1 point into Enhanced Decrepify, and 1 point into Abhorrent Decrepify. Put 3 points into Skeletal Mage Mastery for more minion damage. Again, put 3 points into Amplify for more damage, and 2 points into Death's Embrace, which you do get, but we do this later on. Around this point, you should have unlocked the Army of the Dead ultimate, which summons all your minions and extra exploding volatile minions for 7 seconds. Put 1 point into Prime and Supreme Army of the Dead as well. Next, unlock your key passive, Column's Edict, which is going to massively buff your minions' attack speed. Around this time, you should have unlocked your Golem for your level 25 cross quest. Remember to put the Golem skill on your toolbar to automate summon your Golem. This ability is also an only unstoppable ability, which will break crowd control and help you survive movement when you lose control of your character. Put 3 points into Golem Mastery now for more Golem damage, and then we go back and get all the passives in the skill tree. 3 points into Inspiring Leader to boost our minions' critical strike chance, 3 points into Hellbent Commander to boost minion damage when we're near them, 3 points into Reaper's Pursuit to boost movement speed, and then 1 point into Gloom so we can unlock 3 points into Terror. Remember, Blight and Decrepify slows enemies, so this will boost both on and on minions damage. Remember to go back and also maximize Amplify and those 2 points into Death's Embrace if you didn't get them earlier. In terms of our Book of the Dead, for our Skeletal Warriors we get the Reaper nodes, we generate 4 corpses. For our Skeletal Mages we use the Shadow Mages, donating 4 damage per active mage. And finally for our Gold so it gets 50% more damage when it's helpful. The only aspect worth actively chasing in this build is the aspect of Reanimation, which provides a 25 to 40% damage boost to your minions simply for them being alive, which they will be, trust me. I've actually put this on my two-handed weapon because it provides a 100% bonus, so you can see it provides 50 to 80% instead of 25 to 40%, but whilst you're leveling, you're going to be replacing your weapon constantly, so I'd actually recommend putting it in the amulet slot, which you don't replace as often, but you still get an appreciable 50% bonus. Other aspects that are good for the build are actually from drops, so they aren't necessary whilst leveling, but good ones to look out for include aspect of the Unyielding Commander, which boosts minion damage by a whopping 90% when Army of the Dead is active. This is insane for bosses as simply like a nuke button. We also have aspect of the Coldbringer, which allows your mages to randomly summon blizzards around the battlefield. Then we have aspect of the Occult Dominion, which I haven't gotten myself yet, but it actually increases the number of skeletal minions we have, which is huge as many of our skills scale their damage and attack speed on the number of minions that we have. In terms of gear, don't worry about this too much whilst leveling. Look for the highest DPS weapon first and foremost. I liked using the two-handed weapon so I didn't have to worry about 2 drops with a one-handed weapon and focus. Look out for percentage damage, which is going to be a flat increase for you and your minions. This is also one of the affixes you should temper whilst leveling on your weapons, amulet, gloves, or ring. Tempering is now super cheap.
We're going to collect this journal.
Items here or there, or if you're trying to push the capstone dungeons early. Speaking of capstone dungeons, if you are struggling for survivability, make sure to temper resistances onto your armor. If you want to temper them early, as that will help you survive the most. If you're struggling with Hell Tides in a higher tier when you're low level, then look out for fire resistance, as most damage tends to be fire based on Hell Tides. Again, for gems, don't worry about these too much whilst leveling, but if you do want to craft some, I put rubies into my armor for more life, and emeralds into my weapon for more critical strike damage. And now, for the actual fastest process for level 1 to 50, World Tier 2 is unanimously better than World Tier 1, as the XP boost got buffed significantly. And this build shreds World Tier 2 right from the get-go, so honestly it's not worth running World Tier 1 anymore. And then the fastest method for 1 to 50 is simply just spamming Hell Tides. It honestly couldn't be any easier this time around. So there you have it, my Blight Minion Necro leveling build. That is an absolute powerhouse for level 1 to 50, and I'm going to bring you a complete version once I do reach level 100, which will include Paragon modes and so on and so forth. If you liked what I talked about today, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Diablo builds as we get deeper into Season 4. I'm Mr. Ronit, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.
You dare to bring the warmth of life into my tomb? We shall put you down, no spawn.
Spawn? Where are taking my mom?
The bag's a little busy right now, sweetie. Remember the pipe at first? I'm asking our renter's insurance to pay for the damage. We can talk about them.
Hello fellow travelers of Sanctuary, it is Ebontis here, and in this video I just want to cover some basics. And these are just tips I've found from playing by myself with friends, seeing what other videos have said, kind of had some oops on my own kind of situations. Just stuff I've figured out as we go through. I'm towards the end of the campaign, so this is not in-game. This is not a full build video for any certain character. This is just general tips about the game that are going to make your experience a little bit smoother all the way through. and kind of help you spend your time as best as possible as you work your way through all of Sanctuary. Because this game is huge, and there's a lot to experience, but doing it in not even like the most efficient way. You do not have to be like full, like, you know, do this exact thing here, here, and here, and here. Just trying to smooth around the edges, make things better, and hopefully by the time you get to the end of
Diablo 4 Blood Mage builds. Diablo 4 Blood Mage builds.
Diablo 4 Blood Mage builds.
Alright, what's up, Necromancer? So Season 8 is just around the corner, but you could still play this build in Season 7, and it is still quite powerful. So let's go ahead and go over the build guide for it in case you guys want to still play it, as I still get asked all the time, you know, should I be playing this season still? And yes, you should still be playing Season 7 if you have not already, as there's a lot of new players who are jumping into Diablo for the very first time, and in Season 7, this is one of the top tier builds. Now, I did make a video that goes over like the super easy, only one button version, but I think it was time to go ahead and make like the complex version, as there's a lot more things that go into this one, but I still recommend you guys to try out both versions, and then you can decide for yourself which one that you like. So for starters, let's go over the skills and how they are used and why we play them. So the very first skill is Corpse Explosion. We utilize this to consume corpses. It also will be purple on our skill bar because we convert it to a shadow skill, so it deals shadow damage, because shadow skills will give us more damage as long as they are on our bar. And then we play Blood Waves. This is the Season 7/Season 8 Blood Wave build. And the reason why this build is going to be still powerful in Season 8 is because the damage of Blood Wave compared to the majority of the ultimates in the game is just way Season 8, I'll be updating you guys with this version of the build, and I will also be able to update you the corruption, like laser, eye laser version of the necromancer with the potion one. But pretty much you can kind of mix and match this because Blood Wave does so much damage that it can carry you pretty much throughout the entirety of your journey up until the very, very high levels of the pit. Interesting, like the which pits and all some other content there. We like decompose to generate corpses, but it's not really utilized for that. It's basically just used because it's another of the darkness skills, the shadow damage skills. So the more that you have equipped, the more damage you get. You really don't need to push any of these buttons. They're just there literally to give us a bonus on our character. And then Blight is another darkness, another shadow damage skill. However, what we're really trying to do with this is we're just utilizing to get the bonus, because the enemies that are affected by Blight will take even more damage. So this is the only one that you would actually need to push. Your main skills that you push are Corpse Explosion, Blood Wave, and Blight. You activate Blight pretty much just on elites, but Blood Wave is going to deal all your damage and uses to consume corpses. And then when you consume corpses, just another move applies. So basically these two are just more damage, but the thing that actually deals the damage is Blood Wave. And then as far as the Book of Dead, where you're sacrificing all of them, so an extra critical strike chance. There are alternate ones that you can take, but it depends on your crit. It helps out with the high crit, so you might even save 10%, but you get all these bonuses from sacrifice, like they give you more. And then we also get increased overpower damage, and then we also get increased critical strike damage. Now, as far as here goes, let's go with this. So the bonus font you can play Air of Perdition or Partly to get a ring to give you that massive round cooldown reduction that you need, so you don't have to click up as many blood orbs. That's how we essentially reset our Blood Wave consistently. But Blood Wave is really good, and I highly recommend it in Season 7 right now. Like Blood Wave, you know, close to the 500 level, all your abilities are ever 5 minutes. Now, if you want to try to push the highest tier pit, Air of Perdition, and in Season 8, Air of Perdition would be highly recommended, as the damage numbers for the Air of Perdition will apply to everything from the boss power. Whereas Harlequin, it's great, it gives you plus ability 4 breaks to all your skills, which is Blood Wave, which is great in Season 7, but in Season 8, you may want to consider toward more boss powers, and the Blood Wave will act as a vessel for the boss power damage. So that's why we still kind of recommend this build for Season 8. It's still good, you pretty much get the majority of things, and it will still function very good in Season 8. But again, you're going to have the boss powers as well, so it's kind of like prep for it. As far as the chest piece goes, just like every single Diablo build, all stats and maximum life are good things to hit on this. All stats is free, so you can hit all the Paragon bonuses earlier on, and then maximum life is kind of the more ideal stat. You don't have the triple masterwork, but you do. That's great because more HP equals more damage, because that's how overpower works. You can see my glyphs are near leveled up over here in the gameplay. And then the Behemoth Brawler's aspect, so this is going to make it so we get more damage when we activate our ultimate, also gives us extra ultimate skill rings. The one thing that you want to try to master, and on top of that get the temper on, is damage while fortified. The reason why you try to get fortification damage is because there is a bonus specifically on Blood Wave, where it gives you more bonuses. When it's rank 5, you get more of the bonuses by X30.
Exactly, I defeated Skeleton King using only one hand. I'm only using one hand right now.
But then you temper on the offensive category, the damage while fortified. And then crit chance, max life, and kind of the generic things, ideally getting...
That's why I can have one hand free in case I need to do anything.
Ideally with Tisman's Legacy, you want to get a greater affix on that chance for Blood Wave to deal double damage. That's the main thing you want. Also the power, you want that to actually go pretty good, because each time they get hit with a Blood Wave, it goes, it gives you up to 300%. You want to get a high roll on that and get the Blood Wave. If you get a GA triple master worked on the chance for Blood Wave to deal damage, you can actually get what's called Titan's Fall on your weapon. If you do not, well then you can go ahead and get your more double damage chance. So it's kind of up to you. It's kind of for the so it's again Tesman's Legacy. It's getting nerfed in Season 8, but it's still so powerful. Trust me, at least for World Tier 4, which is where you're going to start off, and then you can start scaling to boss powers later. Still going for this is really good. But next up we run Aspect of Curse Aura. This gives us the automatic aura. You're actually seeing several auras. We just recorded this last night from Season 7 here.
And for those that don't know, you can find me on other social media platforms such as Discord, Facebook.
Where we get this automatic aura ability. I'll show you guys that in a moment. But yeah, Cursed Aura will give you the ability to just curse everything, so you get all these bonuses when enemies are cursed. Ideally, you try to like hit a bunch of enemies because they're going to be cursed for a set of duration, and the longer that they are cursed, the more damage that they will be taking. So just kind of walk around, have it tag everything, and then everything will get sucked every 8 seconds. You get a big suck.
Because there are certain reasons why I don't use Twitter.
Billions and billions and even trillions of damage in total.
Because sometimes Twitter people can be extremely fucking touchy.
And then if you want to get utility curse something, but it doesn't really matter. Offensive over here, again, damage will fortify Titan's Fall, or you get the Blood Wave. Again, that's like the main thing. If this is already like, it goes like 90-something%, and you get it like really good in terms of masterworking and a GA. But after that, Titan's Fall is the one you want to go for. But yeah, getting into max life, overpower, all that stuff is great. And you want to run a 2-handed mace, by the way. If you want to throw a tidal aspect, so the Blood Wave fires 2 additional ways, which makes it do more damage. Then you got to collect the orbs in order for it to be able to be reset, and it has to end in order to be casting. Then for an amulet, getting Coalesced Blood, damage will fortify, crit, strike chance, and draw crit stats. Any offensive buffs are great. Also resources, the ultimate cooldown reduction is great. Getting the sacrifice bonuses getting increased, so you get way more crit, way more overpower, and way more damage overall. It's really great to get. That's why you put it in the amulet. And then we get the aspect of ultimate shadow. This makes it so the Blood Wave is now a darkness skill, so it does shadow damage. So darkness and shadow are kind of like the same, and then also the word corruption is also part of like the new tags here in Season 8. But basically it does some desperate ground, but it's just the conversion here that really makes it really good. So getting crit, and I've seen some builds with attack speed. If you're wondering why attack speed will then ramp up your corpse consumption a little bit faster. So you can activate Blood Wave and then consume corpses so fast that by the time the last one lands, because remember it's going to ramp up with the parents, Kesamine's Legacy, that you're going to get that damage before it kind of ends. So attack speed isn't necessarily bad, I just don't think it's like absolute priority. I think getting 100% crit is absolutely priority build, and then also trying to get a bunch of maximum life and damage will fortify. And then again, cooldown reduction, fortification, same thing with the other rings, basically copy and paste. However, you want to run Fast Blood. If you do not have a good roll Fast Blood, you can actually put this in your amulet so you get another bonus here. Fast Blood is something that reduces your ultimate's cooldown when you start picking these things up. That's how I'm able to constantly spam my ultimate again and again. It's all with specifically Fast Blood here. And then for the runes over here, you can actually play a couple different ones. I like running 18 Vex. Vex is great for like the ability to have extra cooldown and actually does more damage as well. And then you can run Bach and Quacks. There's actually another one where you throw the curse for execute. There's actually a lot of different options here. If you're running into cooldown problems, you can also throw in for give you extra cooldown, but I think Vex is just a really good one overall. I guess getting more damage and cooldown reduction. It's just a lot more beginner friendly. Cax, however, if you want to run the one that gives you extra maximum life instead of Cax, that's totally fine. That way you don't have to manage it. So the way it works is after you travel a certain amount, you have to like pay attention to the bar filling up. If you're kind of more of a lazy player, hey, I don't blame you. You can run my lazy one bar version where you like can't mess anything up. But sometimes what happens is like you kind of get this nice loop up and you're like, well, I want to throw my Shadow Blight so I can get more damage. And then, oh, that one is the thing that spend all my primary resource. So watch out for that if you want to play lazy version. Just get more max life. It'll make you tankier and it'll actually do more damage as well. Whereas this one, technically this one just goes into damage. It gives you more than the HP one, but you have to monitor as you have to wait for the little bar to build up and then you push the button so it consumes it. As far as the witchcraft powers, we are going to be running the cycle, the shaken soul, something that's vulnerability, force of will, we're running war of siphoning, last specialization, and soul harvest, which is basically bread and butter every single build over here. However, one thing to note with this is obviously in Season 8 we won't have this, so you have to get something that applies vulnerability in your ring, amulet, or your gloves. You need a percent chance to do vulnerable, like to apply vulnerability to the enemies. And then for the gems, if you want to run these, it's great. Voice of Stars is great in every single build. It's giving your ultimate ability to be treated as Eldritch. Then you can run Hungering Void. This will give you the big pull every once in a while. And then Friend of the Bog, which gives you just extra primary stats, more life, and non-ender. Just great stuff in need as well. Overall, really in life. And then this is going to be the skill tree. So the first 2 points, yours 1 point each. Again, so you can put it on your bar. If you want this chance to spawn corpses, your Blood Wave actually has a huge hit chance, so it's fantastic for that. Then we get the Blight. We want to get this one when we deal 20 max damage. We got to put 1 point to 7. If you're playing Era Perdition, you'll have to put 1 point in here. If you're playing Harlequin, you don't need to because it'll